of any business that's here in Palm Beach County, of course. Here is incredible, especially with your new co-working space.
Thank you.
So thank you once again for showing up to Anne Marie's event and also to hear me speak. My goal today is to not only provide some background on what my organization does to support economic development in Palm Beach County, but also to provide an update on our pipeline so that you have an idea of the businesses and the industries that are either moving to Palm Beach County or expanding in Palm Beach County. Feel free to stop me at any time if you have questions. I want this to be an open dialogue. And again, the goal is just to provide education on what we do and the economic snapshot of what's currently going on here in Palm Beach County. So, the Business Development Board was formed in 1982. That is one of the longest standing economic development organizations in our state. It's not very typical for that to occur because a lot of times with economic development, depending upon the, I would say, the political structure or climate, an economic development organization could go from being 100% publicly funded, and then in the next swift change, it could go to being 100% private. And what we've done over the past 30 plus years is to ensure that we maintain our entity as a public-private partnership. What that means is that 40% of our funding comes from an exclusive contract with Palm Beach County Board of Commissioners. 60% of our funding is privately raised. We have a membership of over 300 members, and we have a staff of 16. I'm one of the 4 managers that oversees projects at the Business Development Board. And we are actually one of only 2 organizations in the state of Florida that is accredited by the Economic Development Organization, that is a worldwide overseer of economic development. We have a budget of $3.3 million, and what that covers is, of course, our events, as well as ensuring that our project management consulting side of what we do to help shepherd projects occurs in a very timely fashion with white glove service. And that's how we set ourselves apart from other economic development organizations across the state and within our country. And that's actually how we're able to compete with projects that are looking at our Florida's biggest competitors, which include Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, to name a few. How I actually ended up at the Business Development Board was I actually worked for Enterprise Florida, which is the statewide economic development organization under Governor Scott. And there I actually was the relationship manager for all 67 county organizations. So I manage a relationship with every single BDB in the state. And that's actually how I came to intimately know the work that's being done here in Palm Beach County. And I'll share with you all that. What we're doing here in this county is so unique to economic development. And it's because all of our stakeholders are on board with the same message, the same mission. And that's how we're able to really be the leaders in economic development across our state when projects that are so great for our community as well. So we have a 3-point mission. It is to recruit, retain, expand. It's just that simple, but it's that complex as well. We actively work on recruiting new businesses that are hiring in high wage positions, and we work on retaining companies that do the same. And of course, the companies that call Palm Beach County home currently, we work on expanding those as well. So how do we do that? Well, we ultimately help in this listing of services, but of course, much more as well. Where it's, of course, the obvious is helping companies find their real estate if they're looking to relocate to Palm Beach County. It's also providing vendor and supplier information from our membership base. We also assist with expedited permitting, and we help with providing demographics, the grants, incentives, anything that can help a project make the decision much, much easier to choose Palm Beach County. That's where we step in. And I'm going to talk about education later on in the presentation, but that's really one of the key initiatives that we see as being ultimately the utmost important, because workforce is the decision driver for companies that are looking to expand or relocate. A lot of times people think that it's actually incentives, and it's not. Not at all, because ultimately if a company, they can receive a multi-million-dollar package to move their business to Palm Beach County. But if they can't open their doors with the appropriate type and well-skilled workers, it's worthless. And so that's the reason that we focus a lot of energy on education and building that talent pipeline to ensure that we are in line with what businesses are looking for and our education partners are aware of what's coming online. So we can't do it alone. It's a team sport. Economic development is a team sport, just plain and simple. And the way that we are able to accomplish our goal is with the many logos that you see on the screen here. We work very closely with all 39 municipalities in Palm Beach County. And we also, of course, we have the exclusive contract with Palm Beach County to execute economic development. And our business and education partners, like I said. And of course, the statewide economic development organization, Enterprise Florida, my alma mater. We're the only organization in Palm Beach County that can receive leads, referrals from that organization. So when they're out scouting the world and the United States for economic development projects, we're the only ones in Palm Beach County that can actually receive those leads and referrals from them directly. And that's with an exclusive MOU that has been on file for a number of years at this point.
Do you work with the TDC at all?
Not exclusively. So we...
I mean, obviously, Tourist Development Council is what TDC is. And there are 5 agencies that would definitely enhance the quality of life that your business owners are looking at. So I don't know if you work with them or not.
Yes. So whenever we have a project that, let's say, needs, it's what we call our A-team. That's when we would assemble the necessary partners that are needed to ensure that we're giving a good cross-section of what the services are available here in Palm Beach County. And if a company is interested in learning more about the lifestyle, that's when we would bring in our partners at Discover the Palm Beaches, for instance, to provide that overview of what Palm Beach County has to offer for the lifestyle of their workers that would be moving to Palm Beach County. So yes, we do partner when it's needed, and lifestyle is a huge part of Palm Beach County. That's the reason why a lot of companies look at Palm Beach County in the first place. And we'll get to that later on. Thanks for the question. So just a quick snapshot of what Palm Beach County looks like from an economic development standpoint. We have a population of 1.4 million people, which is growing every day. Our average salary is the highest in the state of Florida.
Wow, really?
Yes, it is. Yes, exactly. That is the reason that it is so expensive here, is because of the average salary. It's higher than Miami-Dade at over $51,000 a year.
Who's making that money?
You know what it is? It's all those people that are making $15,000, but then you've got the people over on the island.
Yeah,
that are
exactly.
Yes. Right. Yes. Gotta be.
Our current unemployment rate is hovering right at 3.5%, which is great news for us. It helps to sell our county even better. Our median housing price, however, is what kind of tips us in the opposite direction, because we're creeping up very quickly to $350,000,
whoa,
which is extremely high. And again, one of the most expensive places to live in our state. However, what we do explain is that there is a price to live in paradise. Yes.
And I just wanted to interject. I'm sorry. And at $51,000, you cannot purchase $340,000.
No.
Hence
Exactly.
the issue that we have to solve.
Yes, and it's a countywide issue that we are addressing. And also you have to keep in mind that this is not a unique situation that we're dealing with. It's a statewide issue in other areas, the metropolitan areas of our state, as well as the places that we compete for business as well. So when you look at San Jose, California, Silicon Valley, we're competing there with affordable housing. Boston, Massachusetts, and those are just, and Austin, Texas, which once upon a time was the most affordable place to do business and live, is creeping up into the top half of that.
Wow.
And, quickly, 65% of our high school students graduate, which is a great number, and 35% of our population holds a bachelor's degree or higher. So we focus our efforts on 8 industry clusters that we focus on the recruitment, retention, and expansion, like I mentioned before. Those 8 industry clusters are aviation, aerospace, and engineering, or better known as AAE, corporate headquarters, which you'll see a large concentration of those in South County, Boca Raton specifically, IT telecommunications, logistics distribution, which we'll see in the western part of our county, and life sciences healthcare, business, financial services, green energy, and manufacturing. Manufacturing is actually one of our legacy industries, aside from tourism. So just really briefly, I'll go over the highlights of the AAE industry here in Palm Beach County. The cluster is actually located in North County, Jupiter, and Palm Beach Gardens as well. And that impact, or the impact of that particular industry, is almost $7 billion, which is huge. And a lot of that can be seen in a handful of companies that called Palm Beach County home many years ago: Pratt & Whitney, Sikorsky, Lockheed Martin, just to name a few. And when they decided to move their operations to Palm Beach County for defense contracts, they have an influx of cash capital coming in to support their businesses. They were actually able to now create a supply chain right here in Palm Beach County. So over the past 3 decades, that's how Palm Beach County is actually known in Southeast Florida for being this incredible cluster for the AAE industry. And that represents over 1,300 companies. And we have an average salary in that industry of close to $95,000 a year.
That's where they making the money.
Exactly. You got it.
I'm in the wrong industry.
Just to name a few of the companies that call Palm Beach County home within this cluster, like I mentioned, Pratt & Whitney and Sikorsky are the bigger ones. However, you have a number of other companies that have 200, 300 plus employees at their locations. And as you can see from the map on the right-hand side, the cluster, again, is located in North County, or that is where they are concentrated. Mm-hmm. Moving on to life science and healthcare. Palm Beach County is home to 90 life science and healthcare companies. And about 20 years ago, there was a concerted effort to bring the Scripps Research Institute to Palm Beach County and Jupiter. Yes. And that was an incredible initiative on behalf of Governor Bush at the time, who really thought that it would be the ultimate place for companies to want to move here and do business, spin out companies. And even though it's been a little bit of a slow process over the past 2 decades, it is revamped now. We actually have someone on our staff who exclusively works on the life science industry, and that represents 90 companies and close to 8,000 people that are employed within those 90 companies. And we're so honored to call Palm Beach County the hub for the Scripps Florida Research Institute, because it's only one of 2 locations. Our other one is in La Jolla, California. Max Planck, we're the only location for their American location, because it's a German research institute, and only 2 locations, one being in Palm Beach County. As I mentioned, manufacturing legacy industry, because if you look at those companies that I mentioned previously for the AAE industry, manufacturing makes up a big part of not only manufacturing parts and within the supply chain for aviation, aerospace, engineering companies, but pretty much all industries in some point or fashion relate to manufacturing in some way. And just wanted to mention Anne-Marie Tellis, which is a manufacturing company. It's a great example of a project that I actually worked and closed recently, where it's a manufacturing plant in a place that needs it absolutely the most, which is in Belglade, Florida. Yes. And this represents 100 new jobs to an area that can really use it. Yes. And we're so proud that Tellis has chosen Palm Beach County as their location to start their first manufacturing plant, and the goal is that they would create even more. As for corporate headquarters, as I mentioned before, the concentration for this particular industry is in Boca Raton, South County. And just to pick off a couple, NextEra Energy, which is the parent company to Florida Power and Light, their headquarters is in Juneau, or in North County. And we have a couple of others, ADT. If you've ever visited that gigantic building in Boca Raton, it's huge.
Yes, beautiful.
Houses several hundred employees there. And another good one to pull out as well would be Blue Green Corporation. If you guys ever get those calls for the telemarketers, for the timeshares, Blue Green has their huge corporate headquarters in Boca Raton as well.
As well as Tire Kingdom.
And Tire Kingdom, yes.
TBC.
So an example of a corporate headquarters that we were able to close a project on was United Technologies. And they decided to call Palm Beach Gardens home. That represents a $25 million capital investment to our community, which is huge. And this is going to be their Center for Intelligent Buildings, and it actually just recently opened in the past couple of weeks, where it'll be the global corporate headquarters to showcase the innovation that they're doing all around the world. Hello. Okay. Logistics distribution is another industry that we really focus on simply because we are at the crossroads of being the epitome or the absolute best area for logistics distribution because of our location in Florida. So our western communities, Belgrade, South Pahokee, they all sit at the almost close to the center of the state near Lake Okeechobee. Mm-hmm. And so you have State Road 80, which hits the state east to west, 27 north to south, and intersects in South Bay. So that's the reason that logistics distribution is so key, because ultimately as we move to being a global economy, logistics distribution is key, and Palm Beach County is at the right place where we still have affordable land in Palm Beach County compared to our partners in Broward and Miami-Dade. Mm-hmm. However, we still have the flexibility and space to be able to support companies that are engaging in distribution logistics, just as our other counties around the lake as well. And just to name a few, FedEx has their location here, as well as Aldi, which is an interesting location because they opened up their distribution logistics center about 5 years ago now, and that location is huge. If you've ever seen it in Royal Palm Beach, they are actually being able to operate this one distribution center with only 100 employees because of the intelligence that they have utilized for robotics, and basically automation is what is key for distribution logistics these days. So as we continue to focus on attracting companies within this industry, it's key to ensure that we are explaining that we can provide the automation or the support for the automation of a lot of companies that are doing that now. Another example of a recently closed project is McLean Distribution that closed, and that represents 400 new jobs. So we have Aldi on one hand, McLean on the other, around the same square footage, but different operations. IT telecommunications is another industry that is really one of our key that's here. We see a large concentration of that in West Palm Beach, downtown, close to my office, as well as just, ooh, what's that?
The doorbell.
So back in the early 80s, Boca Raton actually was the home to the first personal computer that was built by IBM. And that's where it kind of blossomed as having Palm Beach County be the IT telecommunications hub for South Florida. This represents close to 1,500 companies in the cluster, with an average wage of $71,000, a little higher than that. A couple of companies that call Palm Beach County home within this industry are Modernizing Medicine. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that revolutionary company that started with an entrepreneur by the name of Dan Kane. IBM, again, still has their location here. And Crossmatch Solutions in Palm Beach Gardens, who actually created the technology to identify its biometrics with your fingerprints. And that was the technology that was utilized to actually identify Osama bin Laden. And it was created right here in Palm Beach County.
Nice.
So the Flagler Financial District is actually a new initiative put on by the city of West Palm Beach, where they actually have close to 70 companies that are all in this one cross-section of downtown West Palm Beach. And what that is actually is not only is it the companies that we typically think of, the banks as well as the brokerage firms, but more importantly, Palm Beach County is quickly becoming the home for a number of hedge funds. And I'll tell you the reason for that is because not only is our business climate favorable for this particular industry, sorry you can't read that, it's just to show you the number of companies within the Flagler Financial District. But right here are a couple of companies that have chosen Palm Beach County as their home. And it's not because of the taxes or our recruitment efforts, but I'll be honest with you. It's because a lot of the times the CEO has a second home in Palm Beach County, specifically on the island of Palm Beach. Wow. So what you see here are companies that have quietly moved their operations or have a second location here in Palm Beach County because of the Behind the Gates initiative. And what that is being able to backtrack the mansions that are being sold. You find out the trust that bought the mansion, and then you find out who owns the trust. And with that, you're able to understand who has a second home in here in Palm Beach County within the financial district, able to court them at that point. And what that represents is 800 jobs that came to our community with this initiative that we came out with. Speaking of wealth, this screen represents 6 individuals with a net worth of over $33 billion with a B that all call Palm Beach County home, and they're all within the financial industry sector, hedge funds being the key. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the recent news about what's going on in states like Connecticut and New York, where the tax climate there is not as favorable as it may have been once upon a time. And that gives us a great advantage and opportunity to sell Palm Beach County on these firms that these gentlemen represent, simply because we can provide the support, of course, without our income taxes being the number one. And a lot of these companies who are needing to now onshore their funds back to the United States are looking at Palm Beach County, which is great for us. Yes. So I know that I mentioned earlier our work within the education space, and I wanted to share with you all that the reason that it is so important for us to work with our academic leaders, again, is because once the schools are aware of the types of companies that we're recruiting, they can align their curricula with what the companies are looking for. Because it doesn't make sense for a college to push out curricula or graduate students that don't have the appropriate skill set to work in Palm Beach County. And the issue that we've been facing in the past is this incredible brain drain, where our students grow up here, they love Palm Beach County, but then they decide to leave because they are not aware of the opportunities that are here in Palm Beach County once they graduate. So the goal of this academic leaders, which is made up of all 7 academic leaders, the 6 college presidents that are here in Palm Beach County, and I have to replace the slide because Dr. Rebosa was recently replaced with our new superintendent of schools. But that is the other person that sits on this academic leaders, and we meet twice a year. I oversee that initiative, and it's imperative that they meet twice a year with with business leaders to hear firsthand exactly what the needs are and how they can support that at their respective institutions.
I want to point out something to add to that. You may want to do. We have the 2 largest schools in the nation for autism here in Palm Beach County. Palm Beach School for Autism and Ernie Els. And that's a big driving source for with autism, because they know that in our county that we serving that special need. You know, it's growing in our world now, and they look for that.
That's
so
great.
It's something to addition to the services, because that's what drives it.
And we actually include that information in our marketing material specific to education. For a long time, we had to fight the stigma that South Florida does not have good schools. And it's really hard when we're focusing on recruiting companies from the Northeast, especially that have a larger concentration, private schools, boarding schools, than we do. And we've had to fight that stigma that there's no good schools here. Because when you're thinking in the mindset of a CEO of a company, it's great and all for me to expand my business and come to Palm Beach County, but ultimately, if I move there, where are my kids going to go to school? And that's a lot of what our focus is on as well, is just ensuring that the positive messaging of what our school system is doing, the institutions that focus on specialized education, that message is sent out, that we're diverse in our education system that's here in the county.
One other quick thing I'd like to say.
Yes.
My studio's on Northwood Road in Westmount. I have done business out in Belgrades and Lewiston and areas such as that. Now, I'm happy to hear all these, great companies are coming. But in moving over to Northwood, one of the things that I must say, it shocked me when I first saw it, was how many people will come up to me once, if I step outside that studio and say to me, boss, can you have something I can do? I'll work for, clean your windows, do whatever, need me help you pack up the van, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, the point I'm trying to make is this: what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
What is, if anything, your organization is doing for the people out in Clewiston and Pahokee that look at me? I'm telling you, I was shocked. I was told, let's go eat some fried chicken, and we went. So I thought we was going to. Anyway, I thought I was going somewhere else. The point I'm trying to make is this: which section of the community are we trying to educate? Because we can leave here 10 minutes from here
Mm-hmm.
and drive down to Pleasant City, or we can drive down Cameron, and you can see all them guys hanging out on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you something that I have come to realize. They all want to earn $1, but there is this. They feel to them. I don't ask me why. I don't know why, but they feel to themselves that they can't go to school because they don't have money.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere along the line, somebody they missed the part of that you can borrow money, like I did, to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we doing with all of these great jobs coming here?
Mm-hmm.
But the talent isn't coming from West Palm. It's
Right.
coming from out of state.
Right.
Exactly.
Well,
And
that's
I am so sorry.
no, it's quite all right, and that's a very
And
good
you're totally
question.
right.
Yeah, that's a good question because ultimately, I'm presenting to you what we're working on in terms of bringing
Yes.
the good jobs
Yes,
or the
yes.
high-paying salaries
Yes,
to our
yes.
community.
Yes.
However, another part of what we do, of course, is involvement. Are you familiar with Mayor Muno's initiative in downtown West Palm Beach? And that specifically is targeting the assistance to be provided with the education of the specific, like the targeted population within West Palm Beach that does need that assistance with educating themselves on the opportunities that are available here. I'll also share with you something, Chester. My work with Palm Beach State College is exclusively working on helping with pushing out the messaging of the programs that are available. A 4-year degree or even a 2-year degree is not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
What is
Yes,
utmost important is to ensure that people are aware of the technical training
Yes, yes.
that's provided by our state college.
Yes.
And a lot of those programs, combined with a Pell Grant, you can go learn how to be a welder, a plumber, a tradesman in under 2 years with no out-of-pocket cost to you. And what we're working on right now is ensuring that that message is educated to the community so that they're aware of the opportunities. So we're working on that, and I know that Mayor Muyo is working on a separate initiative as well, specifically for the area that you named in West Palm Beach, the northern area of West Palm Beach.
And I'll just interject real quick. Kevin Jones was here a few weeks ago, and he talked about the Village Initiative, and we're actually working with them on the Village Initiative to bring more awareness and more partnerships, more businesses to partner with that initiative as well. And then Tammy Jackson Moore, who's actually commenting as we speak, she was here a few weeks ago talking about the different initiatives that's happening in the Glades community. And West Tech, Career Source, West Tech, the school district of Palm Beach County have advocated for funds that they have received from the legislature for $1.5 million to provide free training for workforce out in the Glades community, particularly in the construction trades and other types of trades and industries as well. So there are initiatives underway. It's a slow process. It all comes down to funding. It all comes down to policy and legislation. So as these organizations are working together, we just have to keep being vocal. We have to keep being involved. And then when they call on us to do something and take action, we have to be ready to step up to the plate and be involved and take action as well.
And can I just share Urban League? They're right there on Tambourine Avenue community. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many people down there know that there is that center and the free training for IT. I'm going to be taking classes at the PC professor.
Oh yeah.
Not a dime. You go for free.
Absolutely.
Is the one
Yes.
that
Yeah.
On Okeechobee, yeah.
So,
Another
People don't
comment, it'd be shocking. My degree is chemistry. I graduated from Palm Beach State College back then at FAU. Reason why I didn't pursue it, because a lot of the corporations were leaving here, and I would have to force move out of state. And then other companies where they were coming in, like Scripps, they were hiring overseas people and getting our jobs.
Yeah.
And how can you guys work with these companies saying, here, you got a company here, look, take care of us in our area first before you grab people from out.
Sure thing.
It's very discouraging for the new graduates.
Well, I think a big part of that in the community is education, because with the projects that we close countywide, ultimately, if a company is receiving incentives from the state of Florida, it's not a matter of being incentivized for the jobs that they're bringing to Palm Beach County, but it's the new net hires, which means that ultimately there is an incentive to hire locally. If a company is receiving a match to that incentive, which is required by state legislature to receive funding from a municipality, there are a few municipalities in our community that specifically state that the first basically grab at hiring needs to come directly local from our community. So that occurs. And I think that it's so important that we're all aware that that's what's going on. And to, like Anne-Marie mentioned, you have to be a part of the solution as well.
Yes.
To share the resources that are available to the youth in our community, as well as to people that are recently graduating. Like you mentioned that ultimately you left Palm Beach County because you just didn't go to FAU.
No, I would have to leave Palm Beach County. Now I'm a tennis professional for over 25 years. I went that avenue because I played tennis, stuff like that. But the opportunities that gave me, that it secured me much better.
So you're a great example of exactly what we're focusing on, because it's a misconception, and I have to say that when you graduated from Palm Beach State, it was a misconception that there were no opportunities here, but there are. And that's a big part of what we do, is to educate the students. And the way that we do that are actually two major initiatives. The first is the Claim Your Future Showcase that we've been partnering with the school district for the past 3 years. What that does is brings in 600 plus students every February to the convention center, where we have 30 companies, a cross section of these 8 industries that I've been talking about for the past couple of minutes, to share of the opportunities, the pathway for education that the student would need to achieve, so that the seed is planted much earlier than when you're about to graduate college. These are high school juniors and seniors that are able to attend, so they can understand the opportunities that are here in Palm Beach County, as well as any internship opportunities, and what kind of degree, what do I need to be studying now so that I can prepare myself for this job at ADT's corporate headquarters. And that's just one. The second is our Internship Expo, which is an opportunity for all 6 colleges to attend twice a year, where they can have the students come from a cross section of the entire county. Because a lot of colleges, they have their own individual career fairs, and they have their own relationships with the private sector. The goal of our Academic Leaders Council is to show that there's a collaboration, so that you're all at one centralized location, inviting all of your students from all 6 campuses to attend, to hear of the internship opportunities that are available from the private sector. Because ultimately, that's the number one thing that we walked away with from our first Academic Leaders Council meeting. The feedback from the private sector was, we need to figure out a way to provide more internships, because we want to hire people, and it's statistically known that hiring from an internship is much easier than hiring someone that's right off the street.
Yes.
So we understand that those connections need to be made much earlier on with our academic leaders as well as our business partners. And that's what we're focusing on, to help with the education of students, so that they don't go down your path where you weren't aware of what was here.
I was aware, that's when Pratt Whitney was merging back to Connecticut, A lot of resources was branching out of this area. It's a shame, you know. We had much more than that back in the 80s and early 90s. All of a sudden, it's just like, okay, they move out, and it's you guys secure it for these people graduating, because I know with the graduation people, they're trying to find jobs. They can't find jobs in the fields and stuff like that. It's growing tremendously. You guys secure them education in the schools. Even when I went to school, we took practical business skills, the basic skills to get us going and stuff like that, and you get them concentrate into the industries and stuff. It's
the education.
A big problem.
Shereena, you want to continue on? So
I mentioned briefly our education campaign. If you fly out of PBI, you'll see that's exactly what we're talking about. Education of what is going on here with our students. And I'll quickly go through what's in the pipeline for us right now, where we have a total of close to 1,400 new jobs that are either relocating or expanding here in Palm Beach County. And cross-section of the industry clusters include AAE, like I mentioned before, manufacturing, life sciences, IT, telecommunications. And the capital investment that each of those projects represent is on the right-hand side. The largest being Project Redwood at $23.5 million. Well, ta-da! Any questions that I can answer, aside from what I've already answered?
Amazon.
That's where I was going.
Amazon.
One of the things that I've done is working with a group of folks that's kind of analyzing that. And we're looking at our economy as a whole and globalization and the idea of scale, and looking at what's happening here in South Florida as a region.
Right.
Do we think of it like that? And with Brightline, the connectivity of that.
Yes.
I mean, how did that help or hurt? Have we looked at that? Because clearly, if you look at the region, you have a wonderful port and airport here in Palm Beach County, wonderful port and airport here in Fort Lauderdale, wonderful port and airport in Miami-Dade. What we don't have is the housing, the affordability, that kind of thing. So, yes, BDB is doing great things in Palm Beach County. Just the scale of what the market requires. Does that pass by any one individual local community economic development organization? You need to have stronger relationships and start acting more like a region in attracting some of these companies than what the BDB can do alone.
Tim, that is a great, excellent point to tee me up to answer the question regarding Amazon. So for the very first time in the history of the BDB, the Fort Lauderdale Alliance, which is the counterpart in Broward County, and the Beacon Council in Miami-Dade, we were able to submit a proposal for Amazon's second headquarters as a region, which is a huge feat for us because ultimately, given the distance that we are from Miami-Dade, I don't think that it's ever really been a top priority for regionalism and specific to economic development compared to the rest of our state's metropolitan areas. The Orlando region is comprised of 4 to 5 counties that all work on a regional aspect of economic development. Same thing with our partners at Jax USA in Jacksonville, as well as the entire Panhandle. That's a 16 county footprint that all work collectively for regional economic development. So our proposal to Amazon was an incredible exercise in how we can get this done going forward for other projects, which we have been doing. A regional approach to economic development, as you said, is absolutely paramount to our ability to reach not only global markets, but also to illustrate the partnership that we have with our counterparts in South Florida. And Brightline coming on board is really going to help us even more because companies are no longer looking at counties that the workforce in Palm Beach County alone. Now we're able to compete for projects that are looking for a larger workforce base, which means larger projects, which means more money in our tax base, which helps our community in general. So we are focusing on a more regional approach to economic development, and Amazon was just the first exercise in doing that, of many more to come. actually in a couple of months in October, I'm going to be presenting at Unbound Miami, which reached out to us to share our regional approach to economic development. I'll be there with my other two senior representatives from Broward and Miami-Dade. So, you'll be there. Awesome. Any other questions that I can answer? I know that we're, I didn't realize it was so late.
Well, Shereena, I do want to invite you, and we'll send you a formal invitation to participate in our 8th annual South Florida Black Economic Forum.
Yes.
So that we can have the BDB represented for Palm Beach County to talk about the growth industries and opportunities and emerging markets that are here. So
happy to do that.
It's going to be August 9th at the Urban League of Broward County.
Okay.
Last year we had your counterpart from the Alliance spoke about, and we had the Miami-Dade Chamber and a few other folks. So look forward to having you participate in that this year.
Happy to do it, Anne-Marie. Anything for you.
Oh, thank you. Hold you to that. You recorded.
I'm so glad you took the time to record this.
Yes.
And we have so few people here, so will this be available if we want to share this information?
Yes.
You gave us so much
Yes.
information.
So
I really appreciate that. So is this going to be
absolutely
available?
So this is available live on both the Facebook page for the Mosaic group. So follow the Mosaic group, and then it's also live on my Facebook page. Unfortunately, if you're not already my friend, I think I have one slot left. To add you, I'm at 4,999. So please follow the Mosaic Group Facebook page if you cannot get to me as a friend. But thank you, Shereena, for tuning in. We did have one question from Facebook. So if you can just really quickly explain where we are with the Inland Logistics Center in South Bay. It's been a concept for a long time, but it's now picking up momentum. It will be huge for the Glades.
It sure will. And we're so excited that the two entities that are necessary to make that happen have recently met as of last week to discuss it's actually the agreement that needs to be hammered out at this point with the city of South Bay. So I wish I had more of an update, but
it's happening. It's going to be happening in the Inland Port, because we've been talking about this Inland Port for over 10 years.
And it's a part of the Glades Region Master Plan as well.
Yes.
Where it's so important because of distribution logistics, like I mentioned. That's a key industry.
Absolutely.
And so the goal is to have that agreement hammered out
soon.
Hope I answered your question.
Thank
Not
you.
Really.
Well, at least we know something's moving, which is good. Well, everyone who's tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure you guys join us next week. Who do we have next week, Rosemary?
We have Michelle G.
Michelle G.
She's a relationship expert. She's going to be talking about, is your business life affecting your relationship?
Woo woo! I know listen. So Michelle B. next week, relationship coach. Is your business life affecting your love life? Hell, I know it's affecting mine. So make sure you guys get your butts here next week and come and network and be a part of all the love that we have happening here. All right, Facebook.